So welcome to today's webinar. This is the first in a series of webinars where we are featuring technicians and clinicians from around the North American market. And we want to get their perspective on where the market is and where they think the market is going. And today we are featuring Dimitris Tsichlis, technician and owner of Styledent Dental Laboratory and Academy in Laval, Quebec.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello, Dimitri. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having
and
me.
your generosity.
It's
You
my
guys have
pleasure.
been awesome. So let's get started, and why don't we just have you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, what can I say? The most important thing in my life is my family, my beautiful 4.5-year-old daughter, my loving wife and business partner. So we're both owners of Styledent. So we're partners in business as well as partners in life.
Awesome.
It works great for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the number one priority of who I am and what I do. Of course, on top of that, we have our baby, which is Styledent. It's our other baby. It's not 4.5 years old. It's been open since 1993. So we give a lot of our time to this business, to our clients, to our employees. But we love it. We just love what we do.
So since you're talking about that, how did you find your way into the dental field?
So everything started when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
Yes, with my father. My father was a dental technician. He had his own lab. And I actually started at 6 years old because remember the old brass dowel pins?
Okay.
So he used to make me recycle them when I was 6. I would hit the plaster with a little hammer, and I used to recycle the dowel pins, and I would get 1 cent each.
Wow.
That's how I would pay for my candy.
That was awesome. that's very just very curious how he got you not just to start in the field, but to feel like you were doing something.
Yeah,
right?
definitely,
Yeah,
for sure.
give you a sense of purpose. So, so what have been some of the challenges that you've been faced with, first as a technician, and then moving from technician to being a lab owner?
So as all technicians, when we work, because my dad's lab was very, very small, it was him, 1 employee, and when I joined myself, and then my wife also came and joined us in the business. But before that, as all technicians, we work with our own 2 hands, that's all we have, and it's the working hours. So that was a big challenge back then, a lot of working hours, and also being able to provide a consistent result while working all of those hours is part of a big, big challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's a challenge that, most technicians and lab owners face today. What have been some of the challenges you have faced as a technician and then moving into being a business owner?
So again, one of the many, many challenges we all face, I believe, is from going to doing everything yourself is being able to delegate. Mm-hmm. That is definitely something that is, it's something you get used to, I guess, with time or a decision you have to make and accept it, that's how things are. Of course, another thing is being there and supporting a big team and constantly making sure everybody's on the same page, from clients to employees. Another thing is just having to figure things out. Every day there's something new. I'm the kind of person who loves to evolve, and a lot of people are happy with how things are and they just stick to what works, which is great, but we do have to evolve. And being that way is a good thing, but at the same time, the challenge as a business is just having to figure things out every day and investing in new technologies constantly.
And sticking to your business model,
Exactly.
Right? That's a challenge. So talk me a little bit about your lab. How was your lab set up and how did it change over time? So you were a technician, worked in a smaller lab. Did it grow over time? And then as you became business owner, what happened? Was it bigger? Did it become smaller as things changed?
The things changed. Basically, we were a very small lab. We were 2 people, then 3 people when my wife joined. The reason for which Lydia, my wife, joined was to help us and market us, because my dad and I were giving great products, but nobody knew about them. So we decided that we needed somebody to market us. And that's where Lydia came into play, and she really pushed that. She actually proposed a course for me to give at the local universities. I was 26 years old. I was the first technician to ever do that, and it's been an ongoing conference for 10 years talking about dental materials and obviously the evolution of those dental materials over 10 years. So that helped us grow a lot. And just a lot of word of mouth, good quality work. We slowly moved from a 300 square foot place to buying an industrial condo of 1,500 square feet and growing to that. And then today we also have our academy, so we have a total space of 3,000 square feet. And we are about 9 or 10 employees, depending on who's on mat leave or not.
That's just the right. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So, what has been the biggest game changer for you in your business?
Well, I mean, the evident answer I think that anybody would say is technology. Now, I'd like to specify a little bit more. I believe that technology is not a new thing in our place. We've been milling zirconia since 2007 in-house, so it's not new. And I wouldn't say milling either, because milling was a game changer maybe 12, 13 years ago. Today, I would say it's digital impressions, 3D printing, and especially when we're talking about 3D printing, the different kinds of resins, the settings, the different technologies, because you have different types of 3D printing. So all those are game changers. And again, digital impressions, all the different systems, creating a proper workflow, those are challenges and game changers.
Yeah, and so, we talk about, and you're correct, I think technology is not new, and as far as milling goes, that's something that's been happening for a long time. I think when it comes to milling, it's the materials that we're milling, right? There's been some advances in those.
Definitely.
So as far as zirconia goes, what are the criteria for you when you are selecting a material that you're going to use?
Well, number one is reliability, and when I'm talking about reliability, I mean things need to be done properly. I want proper isostatic pressing. I need to be associated to a company that knows what they're doing, that have been in the dental market for many, many years, and that have the experience and the support to basically make sure that what I'm giving my clients and they're giving to their patients is sustainable, right?
Yes.
So that is the number one thing. Second of all is definitely reliability as far as aesthetics and color. I hate surprises. If there's something that's pre-shaded and it comes out of the sintering oven a different color than what we chose, clearly there's a problem. So that is an important aspect as well.
So how important is zirconia in your daily work?
Very important. I mean, we've been milling since 2007. We started with a little machine, the only one that existed back then. There were maybe 2-3 companies. We had started with one of the 3 that existed, and we moved on to buying 3 5-axis machines that mill all day. So we're about 85% zirconia.
Oh wow! So it's a big chunk of the work that comes out of the laboratory.
Yes.
So what are the most common indications for using zirconia?
The most common indications are full contour zirconia crowns and bridges. And again, in those we have different categories. Some are more translucent, others are stronger, but a little less translucent. And then if we want to go for higher aesthetics, we love layering. We have great ceramists, and it's just a very, very current workflow. Implant supported structures, whether full contour or again layered, those are also indications.
It's interesting. So you although full contour is still very much popular in the market, you still do some layering.
We do a lot of layering. We have the best ceramists. I believe we have 2 of the best ceramists in the world. I truly mean that.
Yeah.
The talent is amazing.
So you do a lot of custom work still?
A lot of custom work, yeah.
Okay. And I think later on we're going to see something about, because you have implemented the eLab protocol in your laboratory.
We have, yes.
Yes, and so maybe later on we'll be able to see
Definitely.
a case that we follow that protocol with. What is important to you when you are processing zirconia? We talked about maybe millability. When you're selecting the zirconia itself, what's important?
The important aspect is definitely the density in each block. But then again, the very important part of this is millability. I mean, we do have to make sense as far as our production goes, for them not to have margins that get chipped and we have to remill. So yes, clearly we need our zirconia to be strong and dense, but sometimes if it's too hard, margins do chip.
Okay.
And also we don't want to induce too much of wear on our burrs. So that is an important aspect as well.
So it's interesting that you bring up the density of the zirconia, which can cause chipping. Sometimes people think that the chipping just comes from the tooling or something with the mill, but it actually has to do with the type of zirconia.
The hardness of the actual block in its green state, yeah.
So why are you using the zero mil Zolid Zirconia right now in your laboratory? Why did you choose to use that?
I chose it for many reasons. I mean, as I spoke earlier, the company behind it is a very important aspect. The support I get from the company, I mean, any question I have, I'm sure the answer has been thought of and researched. It's not just going to be an answer to get me off the line. And clearly reliability, aesthetics, all of those aspects for me are reasons for which I chose it.
You chose it. What made you change? You talked about support, etc. But were you in a situation before where you did not have that, and that's what made you look for a product that also gave you the support?
Well, I'm not gonna lie by saying that what I was using wasn't good. It was good. Aesthetically, it was okay. Was it as reliable? No, it wasn't as reliable. We had some problems with coloring, so that was one of the reasons that made us make the switch. I just compared. I made 2 units of the same color. We sintered them, and the result was superior with a Mangerbach. Now, the other major factor was service. I felt like the support was just cookie cutter support. I wasn't getting real support when I really needed it. I was getting it when things were going well, but as soon as I had an inquiry on things that weren't working, I was getting no service. So to me, that's what shows if a company is serious or not.
So your service for you was very important in making that decision. And so what do your employees like about the switch?
Not having to redo anything.
They're happy.
And not getting a surprise in the morning when the sintering oven's open and seeing colors being off.
That's important. You got to keep them happy for sure. If you were to describe the Ceramil Zolid Zirconia in 3 words, what would you use?
I would use, again, consistency, reliability, aesthetics, and also versatility. Here, I gave you 4.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, give us 1 more. What new products or processes would you like to see be available in the future?
Well, I mean, I've heard of Gen X, right?
Yes.
So definitely I would like to not have to choose strength over aesthetics, and I believe that is the beauty of Gen X. For those who don't know what it is, maybe I'll just explain a little bit. Basically, it's a new type of zirconia that Aman Girbach has made, where we're going to have different variants of translucency within the block. But the beauty of it, as opposed to many competitors, is that we are going to have the same strength throughout the block. So if you have a bridge, for example, when you're milling a bridge, you usually have to angulate it in certain ways. So if you have different strengths in different layers, you're going to have some layers that are stronger than others, and to me that's unacceptable. I mean, it may look good, but long term it doesn't really work in my opinion. That is what I love and looking forward from Gen X.
Good. And that we're planning that will be next year, probably launching at the beginning of next year for the U.S. market. And how about other materials? You mentioned...
I would love to see more on some super polymers. I believe that that is also part of the future. Super polymers, for example, PEEK, PEC-10, etc. I really think that there are great indications for those kinds of materials. And I'd love to see faster printing times, more options for resins. There's a lot of things I'd love to see, but these are just...
wish lists.
Wish lists.
Well, Dimitri, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it.